¿Me escuchan ahí?
Can you hear me?
Perfecto, muchísimas
Yes,
gracias,
perfect. Thank you
Luciano.
very much.
Ahora
Thank
vamos
you,
a
Luciano.
seguir con la
Now we
presentación.
will
Logística
continue with
inteligente
smart
para pymes,
logistics
para
for
impulsar al
SMEs to
mercado de
enter
Estados
the US
Unidos,
market,
presentada por
presented by
DHL. Nos
DHL.
acompañan
We are
Claudio
joined by
Salcedo, gerente de
Claudio
aduana
Salcedo,
y
Manager
asuntos
of Customs and
regulatorios, y
Regulatory
Julián
Affairs,
Fedo,
and
gerente
Julian
comercial
Fedo,
senior
Senior
de
Regional
FEDES de
Manager
DHL.
at
Claudio,
DHL.
Julián, gracias por
Claudio,
estar
Julian, thank
aquí.
you for
Te
being
cedo la
here.
palabra.
I give you the floor.
Bueno, muy bien. Buenas
Okay,
tardes a
thank
todos. ¿Se escucha
you.
bien?
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear
Perfecto.
well? Okay,
Bueno,
thank you.
muchas gracias por la invitación. Ya
Thank you for the
hacemos pantalla y
invite.
arrancamos.
I will show my screen and we start.
¿Me avisan si se ve bien ahora?
Can you see it well now?
Todavía no,
Not yet.
todavía no se ve.
No, we cannot see it yet.
Ahí está compartiendo.
Ahora sí,
Now you are
perfecto.
sharing. Yes, great.
Sí, la puedes poner en pantalla
Sí,
completa.
ahí
You can
estamos. Ahí se ve bien.
make it full screen.
No,
Can
ahí
you
sí se
see
ve.
it well?
Perfecto.
Yes.
Muchísimas
Okay.
gracias,
Muy bien.
Julián.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias a
Thank
todos.
you.
Bienvenidos al webinar
To
Logística
everyone,
Interna
welcome to
para
the
pymes, para ingresar al mercado de
internal
Estados Unidos. En
logistics for
principio,
SMEs to
obviamente me voy a
enter the
presentar.
US
Mi nombre es
market. I
Julián
will
Fedo.
introduce myself. I am
Soy
Julian
gerente comercial de
Fedo.
DH Express
I am the
Argentina.
DH
Actualmente
Express Argentina
iniciando la
manager,
parte comercial del proyecto de expansión
and
en todo el
I
interior del
am
país.
in
Y hoy me va
an
a estar
expansion
acompañando
project all
Claudio
over the country.
Salcedo,
And
que es
today with
nuestro
me is Claudio
gerente de aduanas
Salcedo, who
y
is our
asuntos
customs
regulatorios también
manager
para DHL.
and regulatory
Así que bueno,
affairs for
obviamente en
DHL.
principio agradecer a la invitación a
Firstly,
Amcham Argentina
thank
nuevamente para
you, AmCham
poder participar en un
Argentina,
evento como
to be
este,
able
realmente
to
es un placer.
participate in
También
this kind
agradecer
of,
al Banco Interamericano de
activity,
Desarrollo.
also to
Y
the
bueno, vamos
Inter-American
avanzando
Development Bank.
con la presentación. En
And
principio,
now we
les
move on to the
comparto un video que
presentation.
es un
First, I will
poco
show you a
para mostrar a
video,
las pymes
which is
latinoamericanas que trabajan de
to
hace tanto tiempo
show
con
you
nosotros
some Latin
cómo
American
llevamos
SMEs
envíos
who
hacia
work with
Argentina.
us and how we tracked, we send deliveries to the US. In a world of infinite opportunities, our customers dream of growing, overcoming barriers through global trade, and nobody knows the world like we do. We are international specialists. We break logistic barriers. We understand our clients. And this helps us to take off our success. And your success is our success. Center and South America, we drive your business, DHL.
Ok, bueno, ahí me
Okay,
dijeron que no salía
so
sonido
the
correcto, este es el
sound,
único video
the
de la
audio was
presentación.
not coming out, but
Obviamente,
this is
bueno,
the only
solamente
video of the
agradecer,
presentation,
solamente
so
tengo
thank you
empresas
again.
conectadas
I'm
de
sure there are
todo Centro y
companies that
Sudamérica,
are
así
connected
que un poco
from
para
all
darles
Center and South America,
el margen y
so
comentarles de
to
qué vamos a
give
estar en
you
sesión de esta hora.
an
En principio,
overview,
bueno, Claudio les va a empezar a comentar un poco,
Claudio will
a mencionar,
mention.
seguramente muchos ya están en tema, otros quizás
Many
están
perhaps know
descubriendo
about
todo lo
it,
que tiene
and
que ver con los
some
cambios
are
regulatorios para
discovering the
ingreso de los
regulatory
productos a Estados Unidos. Está
changes
bueno
to enter products into
refrescarlo
the
y
US, and
Claudio
it's
nos va a
good to
comentar un
refresh
poco.
this.
También todo lo que
Claudio
tiene que ver con
will
los
tap on that,
requisitos y
and
la
also
información necesaria
requirements
para
and the necessary
asegurar que
information
nuestros
to
productos
ensure that our
lleguen
products
bien y se puedan
arrive
entregar
safely and can be
en el mercado
delivered
estadounidense.
in the
Y luego
US
yo
market.
voy a ir y
And
les voy a
I
comentar un
will
poco
come
de
back and
cuáles son
will
las soluciones
mention
que
which are
internacionales tiene
the
DHL
international
como para la
solutions
exportación,
that
como para la
DHL
importación
Express has
de estos
both for
productos
import and
en el
export of
mercado
these
internacional.
products in the
Y por
international
último,
market.
también
And
seguramente
finally,
Rosario también les va a estar
um,
escribiendo nuestros
um,
mails
you will
para
be
consultas,
receiving
obviamente dando a
we will
la
be giving
aclaración
you
que
our email
en esta
for
edición de
questions and
Argentina
answers.
tenemos un
And
equipo
in
preparado en
Argentina,
cada
we
uno
have a
de
team
sus
that
países
is
para
ready
poder ir
in each
asesorándolos
of your countries as
en las
well
consultas
to solve
referidas a sus productos
different
o alguna que les
queries
ponemos
about your
acá.
products.
Obviamente
Some can be answered here, and the rest will be answered later on.
Bienvenidos a todos nuevamente.
So welcome
Gracias por la
everyone
invitación.
once again. Thank you for the
Dejo
invite.
espacio a Claudio
And
para la
I give the
presentación.
floor to Claudio to start with his presentation.
Bueno, buenas tardes, un gusto hablar ante
Good
todos
afternoon.
ustedes.
It's a pleasure
Bueno, y
to
comentarle un
talk
poco
to
estos
you
cambios
today and to
regulatorios
mention the
que nacen
regulatory
de la Ley de
changes
Expansión del Comercio, de la Ley de
that come from
Comercio
the
e International
expansion law
Economy
of
Emergency Power Act,
international
donde le dan la facultad al
the
presidente
International
de Estados
Economy's
Unidos
Emergency Power Act
a
that
establecer cupos,
gives them
a establecer
power to
derechos
the US
adicionales a los derechos de
to
importación que ya existen en Estados
establish
Unidos
quota and
por razones de
tariffs
volumen,
because
de
of
investigación
volume,
o en
because
todo
of a
caso
research,
por temas de seguridad
or for
nacional.
safety, national safety
Lo que
reasons.
podemos ver acá, en el
What we
caso
can see here
de países como
in
China, Canadá,
countries like
México,
China,
ese
Canada,
sería el
Mexico,
arancel
this is the
recíproco que se le
tariff,
establece
the
además del
reciprocal
derecho
tariff on
de
top of
importación.
the import
En el caso
right.
de Canadá, por formar
For
parte
Canada, as it
del
belongs
Tratado de Libre
to
Comercio
the
entre Canadá y
free
México
trade
y Estados
agreement
Unidos,
between the United States, Canada, and
mismo caso de
Mexico,
México
and same
y
with
para el resto de los
Mexico,
países como Argentina que se aplica
and
el
for the rest of the
10%.
countries like Argentina that receive 10%
Después tenemos el
tariff.
25%
Then
para el rubro de
25%
automotriz
for
y
automotive
el nuevo cambio
sector
regulatorio
and the new
que empezó a
regulatory
partir del
change
29 de
that
agosto para
started
todos los
on
países
29th
es
August
que
for
todos
all
los
countries
envíos
is that all
de $0 en dólar
deliveries or
van a tributar, pagan derecho de
from $0,
importación,
they pay
que antes de eso
export right.
existía un
That
límite
before
de
that, import
$800, a
rights, that
partir del
before that
cual
there was a limit of $800
no se pagaban tributos.
from which you didn't pay, but
La
from now
siguiente.
onwards, you pay from zero onwards, import duty.
Bueno, acá tenemos
Here, we
un
can
ejemplo de
see
cómo era
an
antes
example of how it was, what it
el
was like
régimen
before,
regulatorio
the
para lo que
regulatory
sería la
system
categoría de los envíos de
for the
minimis hasta
categories, the
$800,
minimis up to
que ya
$800,
prácticamente no
that
existe, salvo algunas
almost is
excepciones,
non-existent, except
para lo
some
que
exceptions,
hasta $2.500
until
en búsqueda para el régimen
$2,500
informal o
with the
courier o régimen
informal
expreso
regime,
de 800 a
courier or
2.500,
express,
donde
was from
solamente tributaban de
800
acuerdo al arancel
to 2,500,
del Harmonized Tariff Schedule.
which paid only with a
Y a
harmonized
partir de ahora
schedule,
tributan también
study schedule, and from now
los temas de la
onwards,
sección 301,
the
de
301
la 232 y del
session
International Economy Emergency Power
and
Act.
the and
Y
those
para
of the
los casos
International
a partir de
Economy Emergency Power
$2.500,
Act.
para
And for
régimen
the case
general
of
o formal,
2,500, for
sí
the
tributan,
formal
aparte de los derechos de
general
importación,
regime,
todos estos tributos,
all these
y sí requiere también
pay
la declaración
tax,
del
pay
Tax ID.
impocts duties,
Julián.
and it requires the ID tax statement
Escuchamos perfecto.
¿Se escucha
or
bien?
form.
Bien.
Sí, perfecto.
Ok. Bueno, acá tenemos un poco
Here,
unos
I
ejemplos
will show you
prácticos
a practical example
de cómo deberían
of
determinadas
how
mercaderías y bienes un
certain
envío de
goods
acuerdo al
would
origen.
pay within a
Y
courier
acá estamos, cuando
according to
hablamos de
origin.
país de
And when
origen,
we talk about
hablamos
of
de aquel
country of
lugar donde la
origin,
mercadería,
we talk
en el caso
about
de
those
animales vivos,
countries
donde fue nacida esa mercadería,
where
donde
the
se cosechó
goods
la
were
mercadería,
born
donde
or
se
where they were
elaboró, donde se
harvested or
produjo,
were
donde
manufactured or
se produjo la
produced or
manufactura,
where the manufacture was
o
made
donde la mercadería
or where the
tuvo un
goods
cambio de
had a
partida arancelaria
change in
porque
the
de
tariff
acuerdo a
in the
determinados
tariff
insumos pues, se
because of
transformaron en un bien
certain
mayor y se
supplies,
cambió la posición
it
arancelaria.
became a bigger
Entonces, en este caso,
good,
vemos
so it
en
changed
este
the
envío
tariff.
productos
So as we see
italiano
here, Italian
de Perú y de
products
China, ¿cuál sería,
from
aparte
Peru
del
and from
arancel
China,
general,
which is
el arancel
other than the
recíproco,
general tariff,
que
the
tributarían el
reciprocal
total y el ejemplo
tariff, and
de cuánto serían en un
what
valor
is
numérico en dólares?
in number in
La
dollars, how much
siguiente.
that would be.
Sí, en este caso tenemos
In
un
this
envío que
case,
tiene
we
productos
have
originarios
a courier
de España y de
from
Argentina,
Spain and from Argentina,
donde en este caso
where
el
they
arancel
do not
recíproco
pay the
y si Argentina
reciprocal
paga el arancel
tariff,
recíproco
but Argentina pays
del
the reciprocal
10%.
tariff of 10%.
La siguiente, Julián. Bueno, algo que es muy importante
Something
para el
that is
ingreso a
very
Estados
important
Unidos
enter into the US market for all countries, but specifically for this new act. It's a clear description that can allow you to classify the goods. So we will ask ourselves, what are those goods, those products, what are they used for, what are they made of? And some vague statements as samples of spare parts or gifts or clothes, that would not be appropriate. So you should, they should contain a wider description to describe the goods so as to classify it properly. Next. Here we have a graphical example of a country of origin, how to identify the country of origin so that everybody understands it. For example, of Chinese manufactured goods, the origin is obviously China. But in the cases of goods, while they are from the country of origin comes from Argentina into the US, it is manufactured in China. So the country of origin is China. In the next examples, it will be clearer.
En
this case, we have a t-shirt that has just stamping that there is no change in the tariff positioning where the product is not modified. So although it is exported from Argentina, it is still Chinese. In this other example, in the example 4, the final product is a guitar where the chords are imported from China, but as it has its own tariff, the export comes from Argentina. This is an exception where there are goods or products that do not pay tariff, where you can enter. And those are gifts which are from natural people to natural people, where the pro forma invoice must be declared as solicited gifts. And they are only personal gifts, and it must be a physical person. What cannot go as gifts are the examples we have in the restrictions, like alcohol, tobacco, beef, and those that require the intervention of the FDA. In the particular case where they do not pay is where there are returns from return to origin to other countries, and then you have to write in the pro forma invoice RTO. These are requirements, additional requirements for the formal import in the US, where we require this identification, employer identification number, social security number, importer, customs, assigned importer number, and the power of attorney that is required from the importer, from the broker. This is all to clarify the new regulations and the examples, and to talk about how we need to consider the country of origin. Okay, thank you very much, Claudio. The idea was to summarize briefly the update of the minimis elimination, which will generate many changes in logistics. So I wanted to summarize and what we are doing with our clients, both in import and export of this, which has been so important for Argentina and Latin America. Today, it's very important to make sure these 4 points key. all the
cambios y con
the
mayor
shipping
control
of
aduanas
this of
y
our
envíos
customers, all the with the
es
changes
fundamental,
of
como
the
comentaba
customs,
anteriormente,
either
que
formal and
la
informal,
descripción de los
the
bienes sea
description
completa
of
en
the
inglés,
goods must be
que no haya
complete
descripciones vagas en las
and
facturas
do not
comerciales, porque
include
eso
vague
genera alguna
descriptions in
intervención de
the
zona aduana
commercial
que va a
invoices,
generar
because that creates delays in
demoras en los
customs,
envíos para sus clientes.
and that will create
La
delays in
clasificación
shipping for your
arancelaria,
customs.
el intertítulo, el
Also,
código
the
armonizado,
tariff
como conocido,
classification,
es algo
yes,
que
it's
trabajamos
very
también mucho
important.
en
The
ayudar a nuestros
harmonized
clientes.
code,
Cuando
please,
ustedes tengan que
is very
importar productos
useful.
que quizás
Also, when you
nunca
need to
lo
export
hayan realizado,
products,
es
perhaps you
parte
have never done it
del
before.
asesoramiento que nosotros
That
brindamos
is part
para
of the
que esa información esté
assessment that we
completa
give
al momento de
so
realizar
that
los
that
envíos,
information is
el
complete when you do
certificado de
the
origen
shipping.
para
Also,
dejar
the
claro
certificate
cuál es el
of
país
country
donde
of origin
se
to make sure which
produjo
is
esa
the country
materia, como
where
comentaba
the
Claudio, y el
product
valor
was
declarado ante la aduana.
manufactured,
Eso es
and the value
fundamental, es
declared before
importante,
customs,
es un gift,
which
es
is
un
key.
regalo, una muestra,
Whether it's
si
important,
que
whether it is
comercial importa,
key, it's a
siempre
sample, or
se
whatever
da
it
mucha
is,
importancia a
it's very
declarar el valor a
important to
fines
declare
comerciales
the
de
value
esa mercadería.
in
Eso creo que es lo
the
más
commercial
importante
value of
que
the
hoy
products.
estamos trabajando con
That's the
nuestros
most
clientes
important thing.
para
We are working with our customers
poder asegurar que los
to be able
envíos
to ensure
sigan siendo
that the
enviados en tiempo y
shipping
forma.
is delivered
La realidad es
timely.
que nosotros estamos
In
al
fact,
tanto de todos estos cambios,
we are aware of
venimos
all these
preparando
changes, and
proactivamente
we
desde
have
que se
been
anunciaron.
preparing
Hoy,
productively
obviamente,
since
eso
they
ya
were
está
announced,
ongoing.
and this is ongoing.
Obviamente, gracias a nuestra experiencia,
And
más de
thank you to our
220 países
experience in
y
more than
territorios del mundo,
120 countries and
nos
territories in the
acompaña
world,
a
this
poder
has
estar
helped us
transitando todos estos
to
cambios. Nosotros, los argentinos,
overcome these changes.
estamos bastante
Argentinian
acostumbrados o somos
are
bastante
very
resilientes
used
a los
to
cambios aduaneros, por
and
eso
are very
obviamente estamos ante
resilient
nuevos
to
desafíos, pero creo
changes, because
que ese un
we get
poco lo que
challenges all
nosotros
the
alentamos
time.
a nuestros clientes,
But this
que
is what
detrás
we
de todos
encourage
estos
our
cambios
customers to do.
hay
Uh,
riesgos, ¿no?
because
Principalmente
behind
que los
each of these
envíos son
changes, there are
goles, de no
risks.
poder calcular
For
los costos,
example, of
¿no? que
delays
se van
that they cannot
incrementando por los impuestos,
calculate
pero
the new
también nace
costs
muchas
that
oportunidades,
are
¿no?
increased because of the new taxes.
Nosotros,
And also there are
particularmente en
many
el caso nuestro,
opportunities,
que nos
in
ocupamos
particular
de todo lo que es la parte logística, y ahora voy a dar
as
un poco
regards
más
the
de detalle más
logistics part,
adelante.
and I will go in detail
Vemos que la
later.
aduana, especialmente si
We
nuestros clientes
do
proporcionan estos
not,
datos que comentaba anteriormente,
if
¿no?
the customer gives us
La
all
factura
the details,
comercial,
it is
la
not
descripción
delayed.
detallada,
The
el código de
invoice,
referencia,
the
de origen, etcétera.
description, the
Y cabe
country of
destacar,
origin,
nosotros
etc.
ya venimos enviando
And we have been
productos
sending
dentro del régimen informal,
products within the formal
anteriormente hasta
regime
$2.500
that
código de
before was
proveedor.
up to
Así que
$2,500.
es algo que conocemos
So
y
we
sabemos que
know,
requiere menor
and we know
intervención
that it
y
requires
esfuerzo manual.
less intervention and less effort.
¿Cuál es la conclusión? ¿No? Obviamente, lo que les comentaba,
Which is the conclusion? Obviously, what I was
convertir esta
mentioning
discusión
you,
en una
trying to
ventaja
convert
estratégica
this
y convertir
discussion
el cambio
into an
regulatorio
advantage,
en
a
una oportunidad.
strategic
¿Por qué
advantage, and
decimos que
to
es una oportunidad?
convert this
Y
into
entre
an
la dinámica
opportunity.
del
Why
comercio
do we
exterior
say this is an
y todos
opportunity when we talk
los
about
clientes que estuvimos
international
acompañando tantos
commerce?
años es, siempre
When
decimos
we
que
work with
el que
all
llega
our
primero
clients, we
es
tell them that the one
el que
that
crece
gets
más
there
rápido, el que
first
se
is the
establece
one that
en
grows
un mercado
faster,
tan importante
and it's the
como
one
el
that
nuestro
can
régimen,
install
y por
themselves
eso
in a new
ahora también
market. That
obviamente
is
convirtieron
why
nuestro foco
we try
en los tiempos
to
de tránsito, ¿no?
recommend them what to
Sabemos
do in
que
this
todos
transit
estos cambios son
period.
de mínimos, van a
All
aumentar
of
la
these
fricción
changes are going
para los
to
envíos de bajo
make
valor,
some
pero
impact in
obviamente
those
es un
deliveries or
empuje
those
a que las
that are
empresas
of small value,
profesionalicen
but we
sus
need
envíos, ¿no? Las
to
operaciones para que
understand
tengan en
what
definitiva
is
mejor
important for the
experiencia
companies
sus
to
clientes
try
finales,
to
¿no? Quienes reciben
focus on
los
the value,
productos en
on
Estados
the
Unidos.
products, on
Obviamente, adaptar
the products that they want
metodologías
to
como la
sell
HLDDP,
to the
¿no?
United
Son
States. For
que
example, we can
puedan
talk
hacer este
about
trabajo en
other
conjunto con nosotros de
methodologies
poder estimar cuáles van a ser
try
esos
to estimate, to
impuestos adicionales
calculate with
que se
us
van a
which
tener
are
que
going to be the
abonar
extra tariffs that are going
al
to be
momento de recibir o importar
paid at
Estados
the
Unidos.
moment that you receive
Y bueno, eso
these
le va a
products in the
permitir que
United States.
puedan
So
generar
if you
relaciones más a
know
largo plazo con sus
those
clientes,
costs,
evitar
you can then
infortunios, ¿no? Y
um,
hacer que su operación sea
start more
más
long in
sostenible y de mayor
relationships with
calidad.
your
En
clients
resumen,
and for it
esto es
your
una
business to be
posibilidad
more
para
sustainable,
ustedes como lo vemos
and
nosotros desde
on the
HLD.
long run it will
Si bien
be
puede ser un
staying.
riesgo, hay una
And
oportunidad,
of
¿no?
course you will
Y
have
esos
a
riesgos si uno no
risk,
está
but you
preparado,
have to
pero
pay
es una
attention that if
oportunidad
you have
importante
a risk, you
para
have
la
an
participación
opportunity.
en el
And if
mercado
there's no
estadounidense,
risk, there won't be a
adaptarse a
big
ese desafío
opportunity
que
for
es
you
un
to
poco
scale
competencia, ¿no?
and to win
Y un poco
the
para dar
market
cuenta
here
de qué es
in the
también
United
hacemos
States. And
nosotros,
also to give another framework for you you remember that we can help you. We can help all the small and medium enterprises of Latin America. And leaving aside our country, Argentina, we have a team installed in every other country. We can follow you. We can keep in contact with other countries, with other clients, and for them to tell us their own activities, their characteristics, what are their needs. Of course, when we talk about Latin America, we have similarities, but in Argentina, we know which are the taxes or the tariffs to export. We know now the simplified regime that has presented some complications about the kilograms for each good, for each piece, but it depends on this, on how, if we need an intervention or if we need further assistance, but we can support and we can assist them on that. And of course, you can try to see if you're going to be an exporter, if you're going to sell your products abroad, which type of regime. This type of regime, it depends on the unit that you're selling. And of course, also in Argentina, you will have the opportunity to assist yourself with this regime, and you have around of 3,000 kilograms in pieces. For example, as it says here in DHL Express, we transport up to 10,000 kilos, and we can also transport up to 15,000 kilograms per operation. And of course, DHL was always related to smaller packages, but now this has changed in the last years. We are delivering more not so light products, because we need to deliver them as everything has changed in the exportation. And another thing would be important to add is that you don't pay tariff exports, and the user it's not going to pay this. They can also recover some of the taxes. This we are talking from the side of Argentina. For many small and medium companies that start to do bigger or bigger imports, they will need to pay attention to this characteristic specifically. And what I was also mentioning is that DHL also covers the formal regime, everything that needs the permits, the tariff, the park, and DHL and all the clients can, DHL can answer to every need that you are going to have regarding the service of delivery, bill of land, and if you require a certain attention of different organisms or agencies, we can also help you get that support from the agencies. And also in the United States, as you know, we have in Argentina suffered a lot of change from last year, and now we have raised the limit for to send dollars, and now you can. It's allowed to bring more kilograms in each pieces, and we also can send them abroad, and this has to do with the taxes. It's a good sign, a good news, because we are not going to pay so much taxes as before. And also we have the possibility that Argentina can raise the limit of value of the goods that are going to be sent. Of course, it depends on the type of product, and mostly it has to do with the individual consumer goods. This is important to mention for the companies. And of course, we also try to bring this support, this assistance and on how to import or export a product, it is really important for us to consider the delivery, to assess, to assist our clients and do it without problem and in an easy way. And that is, of course, the most important thing for every other client. And when we talk about some individual products, for example, some articles as gifts, and it has to do with the amount that we're going to send and to deliver. It depends on the taxes that they're going to have. And apart from exports and imports, we have one customs agency for customs broker for those goods that are of greater value. They can work with an officer specialized on that in customs, and we also can add our services of DHL Express that are not only for Argentina but also for South America countries, for small packages, documents. And apart from talking about this formal regime, it is a door-to-door delivery. From the moment that it is sent, you will receive that in the door of your company or at the door of your house. This has to do with exports, imports, and as I mentioned before, the simplified regime and the traceability, the tracking of our products, of our packages, of the documents, to register the delivery, to try to track it. We go up to 120 countries around the world. And in the case of Argentina, we have the possibility of, as I mentioned before, customs, an agency that is inside our own company that we can address every need regarding customs and the tariffs. We are defined by our service and our agility, our accountability, our sustainability, and commitment. Of course, as I have just mentioned, we are committed to sustainability. In our years, we are trying to use different electricity methods. We try to use renewable resources, try to use sustainable fuels. When we try to use fuels from used oils for cooking or other type of residues, and we try to help with the carbon footprint when we do, and we try to apply these new resources. And we would like to try to certify our clients with this sustainable fuel certification. And as we have this certification, we would like for them to have it and to complete the carbon footprint. This makes us very, very proud, and we keep on that track. We try to empower that and to support this type of goals, not only for us, but also for our clients. That would be all for me from my part now. I'm open to any question. I would like to answer everything you have. And of course, as I mentioned before, there are lots of countries that work with us. We can give an answer not only to Argentina, but we can assess and assist other countries. And I'm glad to be answering whatever you want, any doubt that you might have. Thank you very much for inviting me today. For me, it's a pleasure to share every year with this in this type of event and in this type of initiative. Thank you. Thank you so much, Julian. Thank you, Claudio. We will pay attention now. Let's see if we have any questions from the audience. We have 2 minutes to answer the questions. Many people is asking about the presentation. If we can share it with them, we will do that later on. We will send the audience, the presentation to the audience. Of course, please leave our contacts there so that anyone can communicate with them. We are being asked if for countries such as Ecuador, do you have the same program of simple export? Yes, in that case, we will give you, we will recommend to some assistance that is individual from that country. Of course, each country has their specialists, so we will tell them who to contact in Ecuador specifically. And another thing, what to do for those small and medium enterprises that import to the US for the first time. That has to do a lot with the lack of support, lack of knowledge, lack of information of how to do with an international delivery. You have to make sure which are the tariffs, which are the customs taxes, how that product goes out from your country, how does it go from the country of origin and to go to another country for an export. Every country and every product of origin is different. Some products can go to the United Kingdoms, to the European Union, or to another country, and they have different tariffs. So you need to have assistance, to need support, because we not only want to apply needs regarding businesses and trade, but also to continue with the conversation with these small and medium enterprises, and in order to support them, to answer what they want, what they need, and to get to know how those products are going to come from the point of origin and how those products are going to enter another country. We have another question. Pablo asks, how much tariff should I pay? In this case, DHL, does the exporter or the importer have to pay it?
Whatever is related to how those export rights or tariffs will be paid, yes, we always have to discuss this. We can advise, yes, and each company can have its own current account in their country of origin or destination, depending on where the customer is located, and based on the advice and what the exporter and importer have done, have arranged. We also help in that calculation and with the freight, which is our part in the logistics of that shipping. Raquel Hernandez is asking if I want to send 3 types of products, what is the process to export? Do we need to have the client in the United States, or are there specific companies that, because there are specific, or are there specific companies that buy other products to our company? Yes, it has to do with the business model. And what we generate in the meetings with our customers is sharing ideas, insights of stories of customers, similar customers to their industry, and how that information helps to drive the business of other similar customers. Of course, the probability of being able to position your product in the United States or in any other country, there are 1,000 probabilities. There are customers that started exporting because through TikTok or Instagram, they advertised. There was an influencer in the US, in Texas, and so that helped them get lots of questions or queries in their web, and they started exporting in B2C form. So they exported directly from Argentina to the door of the American buyer. And there are also cases where they do not adopt this business model. They prefer a B2B to sell a distributor in the US in different states, and so that the distributor is in charge of the final delivery of the product. And always in our meetings, or the visits we pay to our customers, we share ideas and experiences, positive experiences from other customers so as to help them to find new solutions.
Buenísimo, buenísimo, Julián.
Great. Thank you,
chequeando acá en la
Julian.
parte de
I'm
Q&A,
checking
las
here in the
preguntas,
Q&A if there are more questions.
muchas sobre, obviamente, la parte
Many,
de mandar las
obviously,
presentaciones,
on
correos
sending the
y el tema de
presentation,
los
email,
contactos.
and the contacts.
Preguntan también cuáles
They
son
are
los
also
documentos
asking which
necesarios
are the necessary documents
realizar las exportaciones de productos
to
de ustedes.
export products.
Bueno, ahí un poco siempre, esto por eso es importante el asesoramiento previo, porque va a variar
The
siempre
previous
dependiendo del producto, la instalación, el equipo,
advice is
¿no?
necessary
Siempre lo más
depending
básico para,
on
en el caso de un
the
régimen
basic aspect for
simplificado
a
es
simplified
cuando
regime
ustedes realicen un producto,
is when
un envío
you
a través de nuestra
make a
plataforma, se
shipping
emite
through our
una
platform.
guía aérea, que eso es el TPO, es
We
el documento de
issue
identidad de ese envío, que es lo que le va a dar
a
la
flight
trazabilidad durante todo el
guide
recorrido,
that
desde que se
will give
recolecta
it
hasta que se entrega
traceability
en el
from the
destino,
time it
¿no?
is
Eso se va a ir
collected till
escaneando
it
con
is
un código de
delivered
barras
at
y se
destination.
va dando
And you
el
scan it
tracking
with a barcode and you get the
en vivo de eso.
tracking
Con ese
online.
documento, además, está obviamente la factura comercial,
Also,
que
there is
también
the
se puede
commercial
usar en la
invoice
plataforma, o el cliente puede optar por usar la suya, y después todo
that
lo
the
que sea
client
el
can
resto
use
de
our
documentación va a
platform
depender
or his
siempre
own
del producto, ¿no?
invoice.
Y del
And
tipo
also, we need
de régimen a utilizar, si
to
obviamente si
see what
sale
type
por
of
régimen
product
formal,
it
obviamente
is and what
tiene que
type of
hacer la
regime it
traducción
comes
back,
out
bueno,
from. It is
muchas
export. If it
cuestiones
is the
que
formal
eso se asesora al
regime,
momento
they need to write
de
something
abrir la
else.
relación comercial
And we advise
y ver
this
cuál
when
es
we open their
el tipo de
commercial
producto para dónde
relationship and
importar
we
o
see
exportar.
what type of product they are
Buenísimo,
trying to
buenísimo.
import or
También otra
export.
pregunta que nos hacen es que
Another
si los
question
alimentos
is if
necesitan
food
estar registrados
need to be
en
registered
FDA
in
o
the
la planta de estos
FDA
productos en
or the
Estados Unidos.
plant of those products.
Sí, eso obviamente también depende
Yes,
del
obviously,
tipo de alimento.
depending on the type of
Es algo que es
food.
muy importante
This is very
siempre
important
compartir la
to
descripción del
share the
producto,
description of the
y ahí
product,
nosotros chequeamos con nuestro, en este
and
caso,
we
equipo de
check
Estados Unidos para
with our
ver
team in the
qué cuestión
US
adicional hay que
to
sumar
see what
al envío.
additional dealing we need to
Buenísimo,
do, a
buenísimo,
procedure
Julián.
we need to do
Muchísimas
to
gracias
export
a
this
los
into the
dos,
US. Thank you very
tanto a ti,
much to
Julián,
both of
como a
you, both
Claudio, por sus
Julian
palabras.
and Claudio.
Ahora vamos a seguir con
Now
la
we will
siguiente
continue with the
presentación.
next presentation.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias. Queda
Thank you
en el
very
chat también
much.
el correo para
And
sus consultas. Un placer y bueno,
we have
hasta
in
la
the chat,
próxima.
we
Muchas
write
gracias.
our email for next queries. Thank you very much.